Hello everyone and welcome to Roll-A-Niche. I'm Matt, and in this video we're looking at Tasha's Cauldron of Everything. With the latest release of the 2024 Player's Handbook, we're taking a retrospective look back at what the 2014 Player's Handbook and the supplements Xanathar's Guide to Everything and Tasha's Cauldron of Everything had to offer us in terms of classes and subclasses. If you haven't done so already, take a look at our class playlist. There you're going to find the Intro to video for all the classes and what you get levels 1 through 20. There's also a deeper dive of all the subclasses offered in your Player's Handbook, as well as videos from Xanathar's Guide to Everything that breaks down the subclasses offered within that book. Those videos feature the tag XGtE in the name of the video, just how this video has TCoE in it for Tasha's Cauldron of Everything. In looking at Tasha's Cauldron of Everything, specifically at the Rogue class, we were offered two subclasses in this book, starting with the Phantom and ending with the Soulknife. Now, the Phantom, I would say, are rogues that move and hide like ghosts themselves. These are going to be for rogues who toe that line between life and death. They are going to embrace themselves in the negative energy and become like ghosts, becoming more and highly effective spies and thieves. Now, a way to look at this is, how did you get this power? And I often include this in our videos of how to perhaps build this subclass and what that might look like. And for a Phantom, where did you learn this grim power? Did you cultivate it in some temple that is in service to a deity of death? Did you sleep in a graveyard and find yourself awakened with this new power? There are lots of ways to spin this, but the Phantom Rogue is one that is highly effective and is like the necromancer of the rogue class, in my opinion. Let's talk about what you get. At third level, you start with Whispers of the Dead. Whenever you finish a short or long rest, you could choose one skill or tool proficiency that you lack and gain it, as a ghostly presence shares its knowledge with you. You lose this proficiency when you use this feature to choose a different proficiency that you lack. So there is one of these at my table right now. And when he does this, he will be judicious about what skills that he wants to use for the day based on where we are in the campaign, what is coming next, what's the objective for the day, things like that. And he role plays it very well. The way we came up with achieving this information from a ghostly presence was by having him meditate. And in this meditation, he is visited by some of his ancestors who may have possessed the skill that he's looking for. So it's not always the same relative that reoccurs in this meditation to teach him this skill. And that always makes it fun, and it gives some little backstory bits for the rest of the table. So that's a thing that you could consider. Also at third level, you get Wails of the Grave. Immediately after you deal your sneak attack damage to a creature on your turn, you can target a second creature that you can see within 30 feet of the first. Roll half of the sneak attack dice for your level, rounding up, and the second creature takes necrotic damage equal to the roll's total, as Wails of the Dead surround them for a moment. You can use this feature a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, and you regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. So, for those rogues that like to take the hide action in order to gain the ability to use their sneak attack, this is for you, because dealing this extra damage to someone else is really going to help you with crowd control. At 9th level, you get Tokens of the Departed. As a reaction, when a creature you can see dies within 30 feet, you can open your free hand and cause a tiny trinket to appear there, a soul trinket. The DM determines the soul trinket's form or has you roll on the trinkets table to generate it. In our campaign, my Phantom Rogue describes this as a small ball of light, which he can then pocket. So think like Golden Snitch for you Harry Potter fans out there. You can have a maximum number of soul trinkets equal to your proficiency bonus and can't create one while at your maximum. So once you're maxed out, you can't create another one and immediately use it and store the others. It's once you're maxed out, you're done making them. Here's what they can do. While a soul trinket is on your person, you have advantage on death saving throws and constitution saving throws, for your vitality is enhanced by the life essence within the object. Yeah. Yes, please. When you deal sneak attack damage on your turn, you can destroy one of your soul trinkets that's on your person and immediately use Wails from the Grave without expending a use of that feature. Now remember, you only get Wails of the Grave equal to your proficiency bonus. And this is allowing you to take that second target within 30 feet and deal half your, roll half of your sneak attack die to a second target. So this is a free use of that while you have a soul trinket on your person. So you should be consistently looking to use sneak attack, because when you do land sneak attack, you can use this Whales of the Grave feature. So just having one of these and being able to utilize it by destroying it, just squeezing it, allows it to break is how me and my player do that. And the third piece that you could do with your soul trinket, as an action, you can destroy one of your soul trinkets no matter where it's located. When you do so, you ask the spirit associated with the trinket one question. The spirit appears to you and answers in a language it knew in life. It's under no obligation to be truthful, and it answers as concisely as possible, eager to be free. The spirit knows only what it knew in life as determined by the DM. So I don't know if he's doing this, but what he should do is mark how many soul trinkets he has, maybe assign them a number or a color for note-taking purposes. So he could say, like, 4 came from the soul of this gnoll that we killed. And maybe you need to ask a question about the gnolls themselves, their tribe, their leader, maybe where they call home. So he could break that one and ask that one that question, right? So not everybody knows everything. It's not like there's spirits who are all-knowing. It's literally asking a question of the soul or the person you saw die. Maybe they are helpful. Maybe they are not, right? Maybe they're truthful. Maybe they're not. But I think the options there provide some really cool roleplay moments. At third level, you get Ghost Walk. As a bonus action, you assume a spectral form. While in this form, you have a flying speed of 10 feet. You can hover, and attack rolls have disadvantage against you. You can also move through creatures and objects as if they were difficult terrain, but you take 1d10 force damage if you end your turn inside a creature or an object. You stay in this form for 10 minutes or until you end it as a bonus action. To use this feature again, you must finish a long rest or destroy one of your soul trinkets as part of the bonus action you use to activate Ghost Walk. So again, here's another cool feature, and you can use it more than once, assuming you're using a soul trinket to do it, saving the one use you have per long rest for when you really need it, or have it in your back pocket. That would be good. So these soul trinkets, these tokens of the departed, these are very, very valuable features. Lastly, at 17th level, you get Death's Friend. When you use your Whales from the Grave, you can deal necrotic damage to both the first and the second creature. So that first creature is getting the attack, the sneak attack damage, and the Whales from the Grave damage, while your second target within 30 feet is going to take Whales from the Grave. Wow. So to include the first now, this is really cool. At the end of the long rest, a soul trinket appears in your hand if you don't have any soul trinkets, as the spirits of the dead are drawn to you. That's cool. So I really like this feature a lot. It gives the rogue some versatility, kind of in a way that like a monk would have key points, or certain fighters would have, die that they can use, superiority die that they can use. This is along those lines and provides a really cool option while towing that line between life and death. So that brings us to the second subclass offered by Tasha's Cauldron of Everything for the rogue, as the Soulknife. Now the Soulknife is, so think about rogues in a way that you need weapons and thieves tools to do what you do, right? Because, as somebody who sneaks is going to need to have something small and a concealable weapon. So oftentimes rogues use daggers, sickles, short swords, rapiers, things like that. And then, of course, thieves also need those thieves tools to pick locks and things like that. So what would a Soulknife add? Well, here's the difference. The Soulknife doesn't need those things. They use both the physical and the mind. So using psionic abilities, the Soulknife could be a very sneaky assassin or a very useful spy or thief. Earlier, in other videos, I've called the Psi fighter archetype as like they're the Jedi of the D&D classes. If that's true, I feel like the Soulknife would be like the Sith version of that. Not that they have to be bad guys per se, but when you could just wield a knife or tool with your mind, I think that's pretty darn cool. At third level, you get Psionic Power. The energy is represented by your Psionic Energy die, which is a D6 to start. And you have a number of these dice equal to twice your proficiency bonus, and they fuel various psionic powers that you have. You regain all expended uses of your psionic energy die when you finish a long rest. In addition, as a bonus action, you can regain 1 psionic energy die, and you can't do so again until you finish a shorter long rest. So just once you're able to burn a bonus action to get 1 back, and that's kind of like the ace up your sleeve. When you reach certain levels in this class or subclass, the size of your psionic energy die is going to increase. So at 5th level, it goes from a d6 to a d8, at 11th level from a d8 to a d10, and at 17th level from a d10 to a d12. Some of the things that you could do at 3rd level with these die are the following. First is the Psi Bolstered Knack. If you fail an ability check using a skill or tool which you have proficiency, you can roll 1 psionic energy die and add the number rolled to the check, potentially turning a failure into success. You expend the die only if the roll succeeds. So you should be doing this every time. I would imagine if you're going to try and do a skill check for a tool you have proficiency with, you should be rolling your d10 and your d6 together right there, and then giving the total. If it's really high number, just give your d20 total with your ability modifier attached and see if that passes, because you've already rolled the d6, and if you need it, you could say that number and tack it on. If you don't need it, you pick it up, because you only expend it if the roll succeeds. So if you try to tack on that die and it still fails, you didn't burn anything. Psychic Whispers is the other feature that you get. As an action, choose 1 or more creatures you can see up to a number of creatures equal to your proficiency bonus and roll 1 psionic energy die. For a number of hours equal to the number you just rolled, the chosen creatures can speak telepathically with you, and you can speak telepathically with them. To send or receive a message, no action required, you and the other creature must be within 1 mile of each other. A creature can't use this telepathy if it can't speak any languages, and a creature can end the telepathic connection at any time, no action required. You and the creature don't need to speak a common language to understand each other. The first time you use this power after a long rest, you don't expend the psionic energy die. All other times you use this power, you will. So you get 1 for free. I think this is brilliant because the distance is 1 mile, and it lasts for, what did it say, an hour? So this is really, really important because it's not eating up an action on yours or anyone you're communicating with's turn. It covers a great distance and it lasts a good bit of time, and you get the first one for free, basically. So the ability to plot and plan mentally without other creatures hearing you, especially if you're entering a dungeon or a lair or something like that, or maybe you're working a heist and you're trying to coordinate things to do to rob a place. Maybe that's what you're doing. That's an excellent way to utilize Psychic Whispers. I think that's a really cool feature. Also at 3rd level, now this is the 3rd thing you're getting at 3rd level, you get Psychic Blades. Whenever you take the attack action, you can manifest a Psychic Blade from your free hand and make an attack with that blade. This magic blade is a simple melee weapon with the finesse and thrown properties. So think of it like a hand axe. It has a normal range of 60 feet and no long range. So 60 feet and that's it. On a hit, it deals psychic damage equal to 1d6 plus the ability modifier you used for the attack roll, so strength or dex. The blade vanishes immediately after it hits or misses its target, and it leaves no mark on its target if it deals damage, because it's psychic damage. If you attack with the blade, you can make a melee or ranged weapon attack with a second psychic blade as a bonus action on the same turn, provided your other hand is free to create it. So 2 empty hands, blade. The damage die of this bonus attack is a 1d4 instead of a 1d6. It's as if you are acting on not being as proficient with your non-dominant hand. So when you see this picture of this fella here and their knife coming out of their fist, that's pretty much what that's going to look like. At 9th level, you get a feature called Soul Blades. Soul Blades are now an expression of your psi suffused soul, giving you these powers that use your psionic energy die. So these are new options of things you could do with your psionic energy die beyond the Psi Bolstered Knack or Psychic Whispers. And these new features are homing strikes. If you make an attack roll with your Psychic Blades and you miss the target, you could roll 1 psionic energy die and add the number rolled to the attack roll. If this causes the attack to hit, you expend the energy die. Psychic Teleportation. As a bonus action, you manifest one of your Psychic Blades, expending 1 psionic energy die and roll it. and throw the blade at an unoccupied space you could see up to a number of feet away equal to 10 times the number rolled. You then teleport to that space and the blade vanishes. That's pretty cool because at 9th level, your psionic energy die is a D8 still. So at a D8, because you've reached 5th level, but you're under 11th level, right? At 9th level, you get this. It's a D8. So if I rolled a 6, 6 times 10 is 60 feet. I can move. I like that a lot. At 13th level, you get Psychic Veil. As an action, you can magically become invisible, along with anything you're wearing and carrying for 1 hour or until you dismiss this effect, no action required. This invisibility ends early, immediately after you deal damage to a creature or you force a creature to make a saving throw. Once you use this feature, you can't do so again until you finish a long rest, and unless you expend a psionic energy die to use this feature again. So just getting invisible and getting up to some mischief as an action. That's pretty cool. Lastly, at 17th level, you have Rend Mind. When you use your psychic blades to deal sneak attack damage to a creature, you could force that target to make a wisdom saving throw. The DC equal to 8, plus your proficiency bonus, plus your dex modifier. If the save fails, the target is stunned for 1 minute. The stunned target can repeat the saving throw at the end of each of its turns, ending the effect on itself on a success. Stunned literally means incapacitated, automatically fail strength and dex saves. Attack rolls against it have advantage. Incapacitated means it is a wasted turn because they can do nothing. Now you get some other things like the failed saving throws and advantage against attacking them, but literally on their turn, the only thing they can do on their turn for a minute is remake the saving throw. If they fail, they're still stunned. If they succeed, they break the stun. So you're at minimum causing them to lose a turn. I like it. Once you use this feature, you can't do so again until you finish a long rest, unless you expend 3 psionic energy dice to use it again. Ooh, that's good though. I think it's worth it. I think it's worth having that many die and trying to stun things. At 17th level, you're going to want to stun some things. Wisdom saving throw. That's very good. So to me, in my opinion, I feel like the Phantom and the Soulknife might be the best 2 rogue options in my opinion. I find a lot of versatility in them. As a DM, having these subclasses played in a campaign or one-shot that I've run, I find them to be very entertaining characters to build around because of the things that you could do with the Phantom and their ancestors, or what the player can do with the Soulknife. Sneaking around unarmed does not mean that they can't defend themselves or attack because the knife's coming out of the hands. I love that. So them getting patted down near nobility is not a issue for them, which makes them even a better rogue than the next one. So these 2 provide 2 really great options. I think you'll have a lot of fun building these rogues. Our next video, we're going to touch on the subclasses you get for Sorcerer. Until then, keep rolling those dice, and we'll see you at the table.